Assalamualaikum and hi! For today's video, me and my roommate will be presenting a case study assessment. The case study assessment is from a subject called Organizational Behavior. The code related to the course is DPB 40103. Our group consists of 3 people, which will be introduced later. And pardon me, my name is Khairunnisa Binti Yushaini, and this is my matrix number 06D8019F1001. And I will be the first one to present the first question, which is why is it important for the employees and organization to change? But before I answer that, do you know what is organization change? Let's find out. Michigan State University Professor Russell E. Johnson defined organizational change as the planned organizational wide effort to increase individual and organizational effectiveness via behavioral science knowledge. This process can be incremental or discontinuous. What is that? Incremental change is more of an evolutionary form of change and usually internally driven, while discontinuous change is a revolutionary form of change, often unplanned and externally driven. But what it is designed and made for? To reduce potential negative fallout of any general structural change in a business. Specifically speaking, organizational change management focus on both the micro and the macro levels, either it be requiring workers to learn new skills, reallocating responsibilities and priority, or investing in new tool or software. Organizational change process involve a top-down approach to managing change. Now, I will be answering the first question since we already know what is organizational change. To answer the question, why is it important for employees and organization to change? Here's why. Change can occur in organization in many ways. As example like strategic, leadership, or technological change.
In recent years, companies are seeing change management play as an important role during the implementation of new technology, especially during this pandemic crisis. Many people fear that as technology develops, it will take over the workplace.
This often causes resistance to change in firms looking to implement new technology. By helping employees to understand change, it is possible to create a workplace that is more open-minded and open to change. Change can help to ease this tension and create a smooth process. Therefore, that is why it is important for a company to manage any organizational change as effectively as possible. Managing a successful organizational change can increase morale among workers and drive positive team building and job enrichment. This factor can directly and positively affect productivity and quality of work, while shortening production cycles and reducing costs. Effective organizational change management allows the company to maintain a constant state of evolution and facilitated period of general business change, allowing workers to remain motivated and productive during the introduction of new technologies or procedures. But it cannot be denied that any type of change in the workplace can intimidate and frustrate workers who are used to a particular routine, which may result in a resistance to change.
And change become inevitable. However, it is important to eliminate this resistance before starting the change process. This is achieved by increasing the force for the change and decreasing the force for the stability. It is also a formal way of communicating with employees. It tells them why change is happening, what it will look like for them, and how it will ultimately benefit them in the end. Keeping employees informed from the start helps smooth the transition and shorten the time.
Also, if employees are more open to change, they will be more engaged in making the process of it happen. When employees are more engaged, the transition can happen more quickly and ultimately save organizational time and resources. Over time, this will increase the trust employees have in the firm and decision top management in making. Ultimately, people fear the unknowns. Having a strategy in place can help to lessen, if not eliminate, the fear. Setting a standard for change early on and maintaining consistency can help create a more adaptable and innovative workplace. Not only that, here's another reason why it is important for employees and organizations to change.
In the past, organizations adopt a purely vertical strategy which pushed them to reach the top of the benchmark and to assume that after despite nothing could undermine their dominance on the market. Numerous companies did not realize that this was a trap, as this position of domination can be undone very quickly if you do not pay attention to the new trends, how market evolve, and what their needs are.
As example, back in the 90s, Nokia refused to integrate camera into their mobile devices, assuming they had already placed the best and the best that could ever conceive in terms of portable phone on the market. They were very, very wrong, clearly. And with them, also BlackBerry, Kodak, and several other victims of the complacency curve just because their organization employees refused to adapt to the change. For the next question, I will pass it to my next group member. So thank you for listening to my part.
Hi, Assalamualaikum to Madam Rohana. My name is Puteri Norsabrina Binti Basri. My matrix number is 06D8019F1002. Today I will present about the question, how would you deal with resistance to change? Before I start my presentation, I will talk about the reason for resistance. So the first reason is job loss. Okay, job loss is a major reason that employees resist change in the workplace. In any business, there are consistently going to be things moving and changing, whether it is due to the need for more efficiency, better turnaround times, or the need for the employees to work smarter. With all these needs come the opportunity for the company to downsize or create new jobs, and this is where the fear of job loss comes into play. Okay, other than that is poor communication. Communication solves all it, alright, but a lack of it creates more of them, right? This is another crucial reason why employees oppose change. Okay, employees need to understand why there is a need for change, because if they are just thrown the notion that what they have been used to for a long time to going to be completely renovated, with that will come much backlash. Okay, the third one is lack of trust in organization. Okay, where there is a lot of trust in management, there is lower resistance to change. Okay, mutual mistrust between management and employees will lead to the company in going into the downward spiral. So trust is a must. The last reason is poor timing, which is timing is the one of biggest problem when it comes to change. Okay, a lot of the time it is not the act itself that create the resistance, but how and when it is delivered. Okay, now I will start my point about how I deal with resistance to change. Okay, the first one is overcome opposition, which is the companies should engage those who are opposed to change. With that, they can actively see what their concerns are, and will reduce the problem in a timely manner. By allowing employees, time is given their part in ensuring them that they are part of a team that cares about its employees. Okay? An explanation for why the change is needed is always a good idea. By helping employees better understand why a change is important for company, it is easier to get them on board and with a change, and it is also encourage them to become an advocate for change. Alright? Innovation and improvement are two things that are occurring daily. With new idea and suggestion, there are always ways to improve as a company, whether it be changing the outlook on a assignment, or changing the way of the office dynamic on a day-to-day basis. Okay, regardless of what it is, there are always ways to improve, and this could really affect how employees look and change management in the workplace. Alright, the secondly is effectively engage employee. Okay, if available, another piece of advice that a company should take, it is to receive and respond to the feedback that is provided by the employees. They are the ones making sure that all the clients are happy and that all the work get done. So keep it that in the loop is vital. Okay, leveraging and employees engagement survey is a great first step. Okay, this answer can be used to change the plan accordingly and show employees that their ideas and concern what being here. Understanding that no two employees are the same is another important tactic to use where trying to understand the employee's concern. Being able to realize that there are going to be many different reasons for opposition depending on the person is pertinent, because their manager can tailor ways to work out this problem. Okay, the third one is communicate change effectively. Okay, the best method that you as a manager can communicate change is to explicitly tell employees what's going on, using a blend of formal or informal communication allow you to ensure that all employees receive the news about the change some way or another. Okay, with all the communication outlets such as email, company internet, town hall, and face-to-face meeting, the message is going to across the company. Employees several different ways to communicate change, help explain the version, their goals, and expectation for what needs to happen and why. Okay, the last strategy is involve executive leadership. As a manager, you cannot successful implement change without support from all level of business. Your employees can hear from the executive team, and if leadership does not adhere to the plan for change management, it is very likely your employees were neither. Encourage company leadership to set an example, and the rest will follow. Okay, that's all for me, and my friends will continue our presentation.
Hello everyone, my name is Jeremy Lim Kar Sin, matrix number 06D1819F1011, and today my topic is discuss how millennials have been a force of change for organizations. Before we discuss how millennials have become a force of change for organizations, let me give you an explanation. Who are these groups called the millennials? These millennials are those who were born between the 1980s and mid-2000s. So basically they were born during the internet era, where the computer was first introduced, and when the first smartphone was introduced, and when the internet was available. Now that I have explained to you who millennials are, now let us discuss what kind of force of change they are. Well, in my opinion, I believe they are both an internal force of change and an external force of change for an organization. Now let us discuss about the latter. Like anybody else, millennials too are consumers. So how an organization decides to market their goods and services towards the potential millennial customers will depend how successful their products will be received by that specific demographic. So from an organization's perspective, we all know that to satisfy our customers' needs and wants, you have to know what their needs and wants are. In terms of millennials, we know what their needs are. However, they also have their special sets of wants as well. For instance, a lot of millennials are very fashion conscious, hence they like to stay in touch with the latest fashion trends. For example, ripped jeans, designer handbags, smartwatches, smartphones, anything that is trendy, they'll all want to buy. Now that we know what the millennials want to buy, we need to figure out how are we supposed to market the products towards the millennials, because all good organizations need to have a good marketing campaign in order for their products to be easily marketable in the markets. Okay, how are we supposed to market these organizational products towards the market? Firstly, we can advertise the products online, as in you can market it through Shopee, Lazada, or basically all the online shopping platforms. You can also market it in social media as well. For instance, WhatsApp status, Instagram, basically everything. All the social media accounts are a very good way to market an organization's products towards the millennial demographic, because a lot of them grew up during the age of the internet. That's when the internet was in its beginning stage until its modern stage, which is now, and all of them would prefer to shop online as if it is part of their biology, it is part of their DNA. They were built in it from day one. It's because they had their first phone when they are in their teen years, and this habit carried into their adult life. And other than that, in order to increase an organization's competitiveness, organizations can also follow up on the latest trends of design among the millennial generation. How are organizations supposed to figure out the latest trends of all these millennials? Well, it's an easy formula, it's not rocket science. Organizations, they can basically follow up on the latest trends of certain influencers or celebrities. For example, Kylie Jenner, Justin Bieber, basically all of the celebrities and influencers that the millennials are into the organization should follow up. Maybe it is a specific bag that they use, or a specific piece of clothing that they like to wear, or it is very fashionable and trendy. A lot of the millennials would like to follow in the footsteps of their so-called idols, as they perceive what the celebrities are wearing as trendy. Hence, they come up with the conclusion that they would want to wear that specific clothing, and thus the demand of that specific clothing or item will increase by a lot of folds. So organization should use this opportunity and capitalize on what the millennials want the most, what they crave the most. Now let's move on to the internal forces of change that millennials pose to an organization. Now we all know that millennials will make up a majority of the workforce in the future. According to a research, it says that millennials will make up about 75% of the workforce by the year 2025. Hence that there will be a lot of millennials in the future. And with all the millennials pouring into the workplace, it is important to know that the workplace demographic will have a shift in terms of all employee mindset and behavior and all. So basically what will happen is that there will be more openly expressive and open-minded people in the organization in the near future to come, which means that a lot of the organizations will become more transparent and more open towards embracing new cultures. And so other than that, we can also see a shift in the manager personnel. As we all know that in order for an organization to continue its operations, we need to have people working in that organization. Of course, organization needs to employ new people in order to fill up all of the old vacancies left by their previous employees who are either retired or they had moved up in terms of the corporate ladder, so on and so forth. And then all these places will be vacant, and then we have to put in the millennials in the management personnel department. So basically all of them, they'll have their own way of managing people. So it'll be completely different from managers who are either from the generation X, or those from the boomer generations, or from those from the silent generation. And because of how social media and the internet influence the way how these millennial thinks, these millennial will have a different approach towards certain topics and how they would want to diffuse a conflict, or how they would want to manage a specific item in the organization. I believe that is all I would wish to share about the internal factors of change caused by millennials in an organization, as well as the external factors of change caused by the millennial generation as well. So I want to wrap this up by saying that millennials are actually very important, as they are the future generation, and we need to do whatever we can to ensure that all of these young people, they are able to market themselves well in the organization, as well as organization need to cater for their younger demographic in terms of products and employment. That's all from me. Thank you very much.